The qualification, what would be the minimum credit score?
680. Pretty generous.
Yeah, I would say generous. And then also a minimum of 35% down. Some of our clients ask us, can we roll the closing costs into the loan?
Welcome to the Nick Fong Podcast. As the broker and owner of Ronival Real Estate, Nick has spent nearly 20 years in Baja, California, Sur. And in this podcast, he'll be talking everything Baja, from food and culture to real estate and property management. And now, here's your host, Nick Fong.
All right, welcome back to the podcast. Alex Koper, what's going on, brother?
Hey, Nick, how are you? I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, Happy New Year. And you're not here in Cabo, so I'm sorry to not see you in Cabo. But I wanted to not delay things with the new year to see how things are going with Global Mortgage. How did 2021 go, and what new stuff is on the horizon or you just implemented over there?
Yeah, lots of new stuff, lots of exciting updates. I'm glad we're having an opportunity to connect and catch up. It's been some time, and yeah, I'll be back in Cabo later this month, but I think our schedules are just not in sync.
No, they're not in sync, and so thanks for connecting on a Friday right before the weekend. We're actually at our new office, and although it looks phenomenal, it's still not fully equipped. So I'm glad to be recording our first podcast from our new office. And for you and Global Mortgage, for all of you that don't remember, Alex is the president of Global Mortgage. And 2021 was an amazing year for our real estate market. How did it go for Global Mortgage?
Yeah, great question, Nick. Just as it was just absolutely on fire across Mexico, but in particular in Baja California Sur, it was the same for Global. So we more than doubled our funded volume year over year. We nearly quadrupled our unit production year over year. So it's a really wonderful year for the Global team. What I'm most proud about for 2021 also was just the foundational changes we made within the organization to better serve our real estate partners, our clients, and our communities. So we're really pumped about coming into this year, and I'm excited to talk to you about some of those changes that come along with the new year. It'll be fun.
Excellent. So what has happened in terms of new programs and things that you guys are rolling out with Global Mortgage?
So first, I'll start by just sharing some news, and I believe this will be a total surprise to you, but Global Mortgage not only has evolved its product program set, grown the team exponentially to better serve clients, partners, and communities, but we're in conjunction with that change, Global Mortgage is becoming Moxi, which is a global mortgage company. So we are officially announcing that rebrand. I have no idea when you're going to publicly post this podcast and this video, so I may have just spoiled the news, but the team is really pumped to launch Moxi. We're taking all of the best parts of Global Mortgage and really evolving the brand to include all of the wonderful things that Moxi will become in the very near future.
So Global Mortgage, the name is going to change to Moxi.
Yeah, Moxi, a global mortgage company. Yep, absolutely. And so we still operate for, I don't know if you know this or your listeners know this, we still operate 5 different companies inside of Mexico and 2 in the United States. There's a lot of thoughtful intention behind that organizational structure. For example, we service the loans in the United States so that clients can deduct mortgage interest on their US tax returns. So that continues to be, right? And then we operate a non-bank entity in Mexico called a Fong, which means that we comply with a lot of different consumer protection laws and bank commission laws for the benefit and security of our customers. That license continues, and we operate that under a different brand name. But the overall umbrella is Moxi Global Mortgage Company. So we're really excited about that shift. It really illustrates our growth and what's happening inside of Moxi for the future.
What did you see on Moxi Global Mortgage side for real estate sales here in the Baja?
Yeah, I think it was a banner year, obviously, right? I think the same is true for Ronival. There's definitely been a mindset shift, especially when you think about the impact of COVID-19, the changes it's made on the workforce, and really incredible real estate successes, market craziness, if you will, in the United States. I think it's really interesting. There's 20, 30 offers on one home. So they're coming to Mexico and realizing the massive amount of benefit, even from an investment property perspective, like, beachfront property average daily rates are up massively. Occupancy is up massively. When you look at, I think I saw a really interesting statistic. We presented at a conference in Cancun that had rental property managers from all across Mexico, was the primary audience, right? And the length of, or the number of clients that are renting property for 1 month or more has increased 43% year over year, which is insane. So it's really just showing this growth across, U.S. citizens coming to Baja, right, and making it a home, a second home, and or an investment opportunity. So it's wonderful. We're excited.
What about price points on the mortgage side? Did you see certain price points being more popular, loan size, areas within the Baja? Any perspective on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think the average sale price is definitely increased, and I think you could probably speak more specifically to that. I saw some really interesting statistics. The average sale between the two Cabos, right, and Los Cabos, being in excess of $900,000. So we're definitely starting to see a lot of appreciation in price, which is, obviously really fueling higher average loan sizes at Moxi, certainly. We just launched, and I guess we'll get to this at some point during this discussion, but we just sort of soft launched some pretty drastic decreases to our interest rates. And we're now pricing our loans on tiers. So, loan sizes less than 400,000, loan sizes 400,000 to 999,000, and loan sizes 1 million plus. And, we did drastic rate decreases across the board, but loan sizes 1 million plus have our best pricing for mortgages. I think while we're on the topic of mortgages and while we're on the topic of, interest rates overall, I think if you read any of the financial press out there, the US Fed is likely to increase and hike rates, potentially 4 times this year. So interest rates are definitely rising in the US. And interest rates on your mortgage in Mexico are dropping. So relatively speaking, it's a wonderful, wonderful time to invest in Baja. And for those owners that already own property in Baja, I think it's important to understand the refinance options, right? So previously you sort of couldn't get liquidity out of, the home or homes, be they investment property, primary residence, second home, that you had. Now you can with Moxi. So it's exciting.
What percentage of your loans last year were refinance and purchase money?
Yeah, we were pretty heavy on the purchase. So nearly 80% of on a unit basis of our production from 21 was on the purchase side. Our days to close dropped dramatically, which is great. So from an operational efficiency standpoint and a client experience standpoint, and to be in service to our real estate partners, we've really got the process down from an underwriting and closing perspective, which is really a win. And we definitely in the fourth quarter saw a major tick up in applications for refinance and cash out refinance. right? We have clients that maybe, bought developer product, took the financing that was offered by the developer and maybe have a big balloon payment and are, when it's hard to enjoy your exciting second home in Mexico when you have that sort of hanging over your head. So offering 25-year long-term financing to those clients has been very popular. Obviously, those units haven't closed yet because they were coming in toward the end of the year, but pretty exciting.
So you mentioned across the board rate drops. What kind of rate drops are we talking about?
Yeah. So previously, Global Mortgage / Moxi's rates were ranged from the 8 to 12% mark and still serviced by a U.S. subservicer. So interest reported to the IRS for tax deductibility. So I'm not talking about the effective after-tax interest rate. And so we really narrowed that gap considerably. So our rates start in the 6s now. And the highest rate we offer is in the 8s. So where most clients, like our weighted average interest rate for historical production in the past was 9.6%. And we're expecting weighted average interest rates to be in the 6s now, which is exciting.
Wow.
So yeah, we're pumped.
What's the loan term on those interest rates?
Yeah, so we offer term choices. So the borrower can choose. All of our interest rates are fixed. So we have no adjustments or anything like that, nothing scary. And I think that's important to note, right? When you think about rising interest rates in the US and even in Mexico for those that are taking variable rate financing tied to Mexican indices. So all the rates are fixed. And we offer term lengths 15 years, 20 years, or 25 years. There's no difference in rate. So whatever the client wants to choose is totally fine. And those are fully amortized payments. We do not have a prepayment penalty. So clients are free to pay off the loan, whenever they like.
And are the closing costs going to change as a result of these lower interest rates?
No, that's actually great. A good question. Great point. No, we have not increased prices in accordance with the drop in interest rates. In fact, we reduced our origination fee by 1 basis point, so 2.99% of the loan amount. So on a 50 LTV loan, that's about 1.5% of the purchase price is the origination fee. And then we have, some fixed fees for power of attorney, closing coordination, and underwriting. But those are all disclosed right up front.
Hey, thanks for being a part of the Nick Fong podcast. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast to get the latest updates. And if you're watching this on our social channels, please like and share. And if you want to be featured or you want me to talk on a certain topic, food, activities, culture, real estate in the Baja, drop a comment. You mentioned a little bit earlier that the close time went down significantly. How do you attribute that to dropping it?
Yeah. So one of the biggest exciting things that we did in 2021 is we had a record close. We had a transaction close in 23 days, right? From initial application all the way to closing, which I know you're like raising your eyebrows because you're like, that's impossible. You can't do that in this country, right? In Mexico. And we've figured out a way to do it, right? So all things have to align. We've really we've invested a lot in our technology so clients can come to us, meet with a mortgage advisor or complete their application right online. All of the steps that are required, right? So when you think about a Secretary of Foreign Affairs permit, when you think about, all the closing coordination steps, sort of thing, right? We've got that process like really down. We've engaged with a wonderful outside counsel closing company that's helping expedite this really capable team. And also based in Cabo, actually in the same building that our headquarters are in. So we're really excited about that. And on the average, as you know, right, there's always situations between the buyer and seller and, so on and so forth that can elongate it. What we're focused on internally at Moxi is, there's never going to be a delay to a closing because of us under any circumstance whatsoever. And that's what the team is really committed to.
Okay, fantastic. And aside from the lower interest rates, that's effective now.
It is. Yeah, we haven't done a lot. We haven't really published it or marketed it yet. You're actually one of the first to hear about it. So yes, it's effective now. We rolled out the rate sheets across the board internally at the end of December. So yes, we're already pricing loans at lower rates now.
And those lower rates, it's the same for a 15, 20, or 25-year fixed loan.
Yep. Most clients end up choosing the 300 months, the 25-year, just because it offers the flexibility of a lower payment. And because we don't have a prepayment penalty, they can pay extra if they want to. But yeah, we will allow a 15-year or a 20-year, whatever the client chooses.
And is this available still only to condos and homes? What about land?
Yeah, so we're not set. We're really focused on finished product for now. For pre-construction, we do have a program that allows clients to sort of recoup some of the deposit that they've put in for the construction upon completion, or as soon as we can get an accurate appraisal done. So we do offer that. But for land today, with the exception of a few circumstances, kind of outside of the credit policy on a case-by-case basis, we're lending on finished product only. We do up to 4 units within the credit policy. So clients buying, a 2, 3, or 4 unit property, totally allowed. Single family residence, planned unit development, all of that, absolutely allowed.
Have you run into a circumstance where a client can buy, say, 2 condominiums with 1 loan?
Yeah, technically, you've got 2 escrituras, 2 deeds, and so we would create you'd have a fideicomiso they get on TF for each one, which we would do, but we would fund them and close them simultaneously. In fact, we did one of those transactions in November, I want to say.
Okay, but separate trust, separate mortgage altogether.
Yeah, if there is a particular request to combine them, right? So we've seen situations before where somebody has basically one residence, but it's on 2 different, parcels. And there's maybe a breezeway separating, and that can be combined into one.
Okay.
I think we're always happy to look at anything, look at the documentation and, figure it out.
All right, fantastic. And commercial properties you don't loan on currently, right?
It really depends on the use and various elements of the property. There are also commercial borrowers, but for residential land or residential property that we've lent to successfully. We do allow vesting in U.S. LLCs, U.S. corporations, U.S. trusts, as well as individual borrowers. So it's a bit complex, but there are a lot of options. Depending, we've seen it all, we see it all, and we pretty much know how to deal with it all. So
okay.
I would just encourage anyone that has, a specific scenario that doesn't necessarily fall within the regular standard guidelines, just reach out to us. We'll take care of you.
Have the loan to value percentages changed on the loans?
Yeah, actually, good. I'm glad you asked. So we've increased our maximum loan to value to 65%. It was originally 50, I think maybe 2 years ago. There was a program where it was, allowed to go up to 55 and then 60 with super tier credit and so on and so forth. Now across the board, we offer 65% LTV, so as little as 35% down payment without restriction, just standard credit policy guidelines.
If you're putting less money down, is your interest rate being affected?
Not a whole lot. Now that we've compressed that range so much, there really isn't that big of a delta. But yeah, there's some minor adjustments as you go down in LTV. But for the most part, it's FICO score, US FICO score based and LTV based is generally how we price. And then again, there's 3 rate sheets, right? So there's the highest loan sizes, end up with our best rates, but all the rates are great.
So you can get a $200,000, $300,000 loan and it still be in that 6% range?
You can, yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Right.
You're going to be in the high part of the high sixes. Yep. And more likely in the sevens. Again, depends on FICO and LTV.
The qualification, what would be the minimum credit score?
680. Pretty generous.
Yeah, I would say generous. And then also a minimum of 35% down. Some of our clients ask us, can we roll the closing costs into the loan? How does Moxi look at that?
Yeah, so if your loan doesn't begin at 65%, then absolutely.
Yes.
We are working on a program to allow the 65% plus the rolled closing costs to 70, but it is not available yet. Okay. And one of the previous iterations of our policy allowed 60 plus up to 5% for rolled in closing costs. Now we've opened up 65 to everybody. And I'm hopeful, though I'm not guaranteeing, that in short order will be 65 plus rolled closing costs.
Is there any, I know back in the days in the United States, there would be seller credits. So the seller agrees to pay the closing costs and it was kind of in a way to finance the closing costs. You know what I mean? Would that be allowed or no?
It is. There are some limitations in the credit policy to the amount that's contributed by the seller, but generally, yes, that is allowed. When the seller is contributing to closing costs and including a golf club membership and including a car and including furniture and right, then we start to get into some situations where we really have to look at that closely, but we do allow for seller contribution up to a certain amount. And clients can just reach out to their mortgage advisor. We can provide those details.
All right. So not only a new name, new loan program, super fast underwriting and loan processing. What other new things are on the horizon for 2022? Alex, what do you see the market for Moxi this coming year?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think, and I alluded to it briefly, like in the beginning of our chat, right? I think this mindset shift, this enabled by remote work, also, during the pandemic, I think people had a chance to just pause and evaluate what was really important to them in life and what they, want to be doing, and then go do that. Yeah. And that's like what we are all about, right? Is helping people do what they want to do and enabling that progress. From an industry perspective, as we continue to grow and our financial plan looks like we will, 5, 6, 7x in 2022, our production from last year, that is going to impact the industry at large, right? We're going to see days on market drop. We're going to see, inventory overall drop. We're going to see, what's really exciting about that is that brings more product to market. We have more developments coming in. We have more opportunities for foreigners to really enjoy and love the best parts of Baja, right?
Fantastic. Anything else in closing, Alex?
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is really fun. The team at Moxi is pumped about this coming year. We love working with you and your team, Nick, and with your clients. And just reach out to us and we're excited to work with you.
All right. Thanks, Alex, for taking the time and talking to our viewers. And until the next one, bye for now.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Nick Fong Podcast. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast and the YouTube channel at youtube.com/Ronival Real Estate and follow Nick on Instagram at NickFong_Ronival. Ready to find your Baja dream home? Check out the latest property listings at Ronival.com or findmexicohouses.com. Hasta luego.